Alright, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. And today we got a few more parts for the shifter. We're finally going to tidy this up, close it all out, finish it, however you want to put it. But this shifter issues have been lingering for a while. So right next to me, I have the Coilover bearing right here. So when I initially started doing all the shifter work, I put in the Z3 short shifter, I was putting all the new bushings and the linkage and all of that. I realized the Coilover was super shot. So I got a brand new polyurethane one here. That's something we got to take care of today. I have the new carrier right here for the linkage. So I'm gonna put one of those in. This is also shot, so while I'm under there and I gotta drop the tranny a little bit, I can put both these things in. And then lastly, just to finish out what we were doing with the shifter, I already put the new hitch in and the new shifter itself from the Z3, but we have to tidy up all the bushings. So these are solid right there, and then the new carrier pin. So all of that will tidy it up. There'll be no side to side, forward to back play anymore. It's already shorter since I already have the new linkage in there. But yeah, we're gonna tidy all those up and I have a bunch of surprises for you guys today. But first, let's tackle this. All right, so first things first, you wanna drop the exhaust. I just dropped in one big piece. That's what I find simplest for me. So I just took all the hangers off. 6 bolts here, bolt at the rear, and then the hangers in the middle. Take that off. The reason you need to take that off is because you need to drop the little heat shield that's covering part of the drive shaft, because we have to drop the drive shaft. Once we drop the drive shaft, that's when you can put that little Coilover bearing in, and then you can leave it all out of the way so you can reach back up in there and do the bushings and stuff for the shifter. And then last is a carrier pin, tie it all together. All right, so when you're under the car, right here where I'm pointing to, there's gonna be a cross member for the trans brace. It bolts up right here and right there, and that's where the trans mounts are. So if those are blown out, definitely replace those as well. But that's a little bit easier to get to. Really all you have to do is drop the exhaust, and then you can get to that. You don't have to do any of this other stuff we're doing for the shifter and the Coilover. But right here is the Coilover bearing, or the Coilover bushing, or the flex disc. On the other side of mine is completely shredded. So there's 6 bolts that goes through it. There's 3 that goes into the transmission flange and 3 that goes to the drive shaft flange. And then once this is out, that's when we can get up there to the linkage and the carrier pin and the bushings that we need to do for the shifter. And then the other piece we're replacing today goes right here. It's a little bit farther back. It's about halfway back on the car. This is the carrier brace, whatever you want to call it. There's 2 bolts here. It holds the 2 pieces of the drive shaft together. So here's the U-joint right here that goes all the way back to the diff. You could drop that, pull this front one out, and then pull this off the second half, and then you could replace it. That's pretty easy, but we're not going to focus on that until towards the end. But me and Chris broke all these bolts loose. If you have a partner or somebody who can help you, I definitely suggest it, because everything on this car is a pain in the ass to get off. The bolts have probably not been removed since the car was made, but we're going to take these out, drop this out, and then we'll get to the shifter. Okay, so right here is where the Coilover goes. Those 3 flange holes go to the drive shaft, and then the other 3 bolt the Coilover to the flange on the drive shaft. So hold up, here it is. This is mine, as you can see, super blown out. So we're gonna be replacing that, and then I just took the shaft out itself. So the rear end is splined. This is the male side, and then you pull female side off, which is the front half. And then I'm gonna drop this carrier right here, replace that, and then this is where we can get to the stuff for the shifter we need to. Right here, and then back here. Alright, so I was in the middle of filming the shifter install and the Coilover bearing and all that stuff under the car, and I decided I want to do new trans mounts. So I'm gonna put that on hold. Car's gonna stay in the air. I installed everything that I could install, but I'm not putting the brace back on for the transmission until I get those 2 mounts. Those will be here soon, so nothing to worry about. It'll be off the road for a couple days, but I still got time to film today. I got a few hours, and I got a bunch of goodies for the car. So let me take you over to the room where I got them at, and let's show you. All right, so I'm in my room now, and I got 5 big boxes behind me. So obviously these 4 right here are some rims that I got a good deal on. I couldn't pass them up. So this right here all this crap. This is a set of coilovers for the E36. All right, so obviously you're gonna start with taking off the wheel. Put the key in the ignition, rotate the knuckle real quick. There's one bolt right here, it's an 18. You're gonna need a box wrench and an 18 for the other side. There's a bolt here and one on the opposing side back there. Other than that, if you rotate the other way, just take the brake lines out of the clips right here. Take the 3 pieces, or the 3 bolts off the top of the strut, and then it'll literally drop out. Don't mess with the top collar. They're already preloaded from the factory. We're on stock rims, so we're gonna see how low we can get this thing. So I put both the bottom collars all the way down, and I moved them to all the way stiff out of the box. But really, just slide it in. It comes with new hardware for the top. Use the old hardware for the bottom for this bolt, this bolt. This is a dowel pin, and then the one bolt here, and then you still have the locations for your stock brake lines. Let's go ahead and install. Alright, hold up, bro. Alright, so the problem we're running into, the stud on the extended part of our knuckle here for the angle is hitting. So instead of cutting this bolt off and losing the adjustability on this Allen up top, we're gonna radius the bottom of the coilover off. Just slightly. It's barely hitting on the one side, so we're gonna hit this with a flapper disc. I mean, yeah, it kind of sucks to grind off a little bit of this brand new paint on this coilover, but it is what it is. We just need to radius that off a little bit just so it can sneak past that and then put it on. But while he's doing that, let's move to the rear. Alright, so to start in the rear, there's one bolt on the bottom of the strut assembly right here. It's a size 18. Just take that off. It's gonna drop the knuckle a little bit, which will allow you to take out the bucket. The spring out of the bucket. You can take the bottom one out because the new one comes with new ones. That's that. Now let's go into the trunk of the car, and you're gonna need a 13 on a socket. So the top bolts are right here in the trunk, so you need to pull out the sound deadening. So I'll just clip in. You pull that out, and then you can see right here, there's 2 13mm nuts. So let me grab a box wrench real quick. And it pulls right out. So it's that easy in the rear. And then I'll just go ahead and grab a new one, and we'll throw it in. All right, so here's the new assembly for the bucket. So you have your spring. Obviously, it is spec'd out from the factory. Here's your little top hat for it, little retaining clip. And then the bottom is where you have your 2 collars for adjustability, which you'll adjust the strut and this together. But yeah, it goes just like this. And then you're gonna have to put the little stock bullshit thing in here like that. It sits in there, and then you have the one up top as well. All right, you can cut. So I just loosened the assembly for now because definitely not gonna be able to get it all the way up there. Alright, now it's really hard to film under the car, so I'm going to go ahead and try and explain this the best I can. This is the carrier pin. The new one with the Z3 kit or whatever short shifting kit you get, as long as it's a full kit, will come with a brand new one. There's basically that little clip right there, and it sits like this. It slides right through the old connecting rod, or not the connecting rod, the carrier slides right through here, just like so, and it twists into the transmission and clips. So basically, as you can see, mine's kind of bent, but it takes a little bit of patience. If you see this all scratched up, you have to basically hit it with a flat head from underneath the car until it bends the clip out the way. There's really no better way to do it. All right, so to put it back in, you're basically just gonna slide it forward, then put the end in here into the little rubber grommet over here, then slide it into the slot here, push the pin through, flop it down so it clips on the little metal bracket here. Then you can put your linkage back together. A new bushing on here. Then put the linkage through there, drag it all the way back, put the linkage through there, and then put the C clips on both of those. Then you're all set and you can put your shifter back together up top. All right, so everything's taken care of under the car. The only thing I have to do is put the shifter linkage back on and the two little C clamps. So now you can put the Z3 shifter in there, the brand new one, slides in with all the new bushings and everything. And then you're ready to go to the bottom to insert the shifter linkage and then tidy it all back up. All right, so now inside the car, whole linkage is set up. We're neutral, first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Reverse. Yeah, so it's much shorter. So neutral, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then reverse. So when it's in gear, it used to be really sloppy. It still has play to it, but definitely not as bad. So yeah, I'm gonna close all this back up right here, plug in all the windows again, and then go back into the car. The back looks fine. Well, wait till you release the e-brake. Alright, so everything is finally done. Probably like 6 hours of work between the shifter and the suspension. So suspension took literally an hour, and then probably an hour of just adjusting it. I'm about to do the rear. It'll be super easy because we can just slam that. But the front, I started all the way low. I set the preload to 7 inches of like length on the spring. We're gonna test it out because they're not set from the factory, so we just have to, you know, trial and error on that. Then I raised the car about 4 inches all the way around on both sides in the front because it was way too low. So at the moment it's all the way stiff. I mean, it's definitely tucking tire. Yeah, so we're gonna leave it like this for now. It's not rubbing, it's not hitting the fender. I still gotta roll these though, and then put the new rims on.